Something about,
Unless that's a Memorial Day.
could be. Could be. Could be. We'll ask some questions on that one. Okay, they're gonna extend the moratorium. I think they need to because we're running out of spaces.
Mhm.
Don't you think?
Yeah,
I think we should go 60 days on 30.
I was gonna make a motion to go till the 1st of March.
Okay.
That'll give us plenty of time to,
Yeah, that's perfect, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what's,
And then
you know
this-
what the, fireworks thing?
This fireworks, what
Yeah,
is that? We got a letter from
Yeah.
somebody.
it's for the 125th anniversary of Utah's statehood.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And they
okay.
wanna do it for in every county.
Oh, okay.
So how does this affect us? Do we do our own here? And
No, according to this, our fireworks vendor, a licensed fireworks, local permits and insurance at no charge to the cities or county.
So like we sign up for it? Yeah, uh-huh.
No.
Oh, okay, so they're gonna furnish us
But
fireworks?
they're gonna furnish everything.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right.
okay,
Oh, there's
okay.
Patricia, yeah.
Jim, do you,
So all it takes is an approval, is that all we need?
Yeah, uh-huh.
so we're good.
Okay.
But Jim, do you wanna explain it when we come to that? Do you wanna explain it when we come to that?
Discuss it a little bit. I'm just,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
right. I'm just curious about, do we have to touch base with, the police? Do we need to have them involved?
Well, that's what Kelly was saying, that they hired the fire department to put it on.
Right, I'm just thinking. Yeah, they need to be aware. Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay, all right. I think it's a great idea. Oh, Bob's here. Somebody's here. How many? 2, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That what?
Yeah, I would think,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can vote on it.
We can make a motion to extend the moratorium.
Yeah.
Hey, is it the same as it has been?
Oh, okay. Okay, isn't that something we do?
They've been doing it for quite a few years, yeah.
Oh, okay. I approve.
Okay. Thanks, Callie. Callie, are you ready? Dave, are you ready?
Yeah, unless Callie has any more packets she wants to see.
Patty, you ready?
I'm ready.
Jim, you ready?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
We erased a few of those.
Did she?
I'd like to call the Parowan City Council meeting for December 10th, 2020 to order. I want to welcome all the public that's here and staff. And we want to excuse the mayor. He's been, got exposed again to COVID, so he's graciously not here to spread it to us, so. And then we'd also like to excuse Cleve. His father passed yesterday, and we want everyone to know, and please remember Cleve and his family in your prayers. And Cleve does a great job. He's a good man, and hopefully he's doing fine. Our opening prayer and our pledge will be given by Jerry Vesley, and we'll turn the time over to Jerry to do that.
Heavenly Father, once again we come before you and thank you for the beauty that surrounds us, and understanding that we are blessed to live our lives here, raise our families here. I'd like to ask for your blessings and guidance in tonight's proceedings. I'd also request that you give us help. We know that there's a lot of people in this city who are suffering with illness. We'd like you to provide for them and give them help, and intervene in the entire planet. Get us out of this pandemic. You can do this. I'd also like to request our national leaders, our nation as a whole, to come back together. Let's quit division, come back together, and let our people that we elect understand that this country was based on Christian and Judeo values. And let us get us back to that point and get our country back on track and in the right direction. And all the people said, Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry.
Are there any declarations of conflict or personal interest in any agenda item with the council members? Dave?
No.
No.
Patty? Jim? Matt?
No.
Okay. We'll now open the meeting up for public comment, and we ask you to keep it at 2 minutes. And please come to the microphone and give us your name before you speak.
Have we got anybody? Okay, I'd like to take a few minutes to recognize some people from the community. As I call your name, you probably know everybody, but as I call your name, would you please stand up? Molly Halterman, Jamie Bonnet, Bob Whitelaw, Jed Sedwicks, Dayla Ulrich, Tricia Harris. Thank you guys so much for coming. I had talked to the people on over the Thanksgiving weekend when you were putting on this fabulous display, and I talked to so many people that day, and we can't thank you enough for that contribution to the community. It was phenomenal. It's still phenomenal. It's still going on. There were 2 bazaars. I spent a lot of money at both of them, but you had such great merchandise this time around, and there was a lot of people from different communities. And the thing that impressed me is I saw a lot of people on Main Street going into the businesses, in and out of the businesses, and that was your purpose for this whole entire thing. I am so proud of your group, and I want to also back up a little bit because you have been giving us flowers, you have been giving us planters for the flowers, you're just sprucing up our downtown. I think we even had hanging flowers for the summertime. But I just want you to know that I appreciate it, I know everybody here appreciates it, and I just wanted you to be acknowledged. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much from the city. You did a great job. Hopefully you continue on. Hopefully it becomes annual.
Make it big,
It's really neat.
all around.
It's amazing. Okay, is there any other public comment? Okay, we'll move on to the consent meeting. As we do this, there was a correction to the minutes, October 29th, November 12th, which I already made, and Callie is aware of them, so Is there any comment on the consent meeting?
No.
I move that we approve the consent agenda items 1, 2, 3, and 4 as provided for.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it. Okay, go ahead, Matt.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. We move on to the action meeting, and the first item, number 5, on the action meeting is to extend the cemetery moratorium. The moratorium resolution is 2020-12-1, and we'll turn the time over to Councilman Shurtleff.
We need, more time on getting the cemetery ordinances finalized. So I make a motion that we extend the moratorium on pre-purchase of burial rights at the Parowan City Cemetery till March 1st, 2021.
Okay,
Is
shall we
that
tell
good?
them what it stands at right now?
Right now,
Right now,
it's expired.
it's expired the 1st of December, as Jim.
Mm-hmm. But what's in it? Not everybody was here when we did them.
Okay, what it does is it limits the purchase of cemetery burial rights to as needed. What it does, it ends the pre-purchase of burial rights at Parowan City Cemetery. What has happened is that it's getting to the point where citizens of Parowan can't get a burial plot because people have come in and bought up 20, 12, 15, 18 plots. And so we're working our way through how to limit the number of pre-sold burial rights so that Parowan citizens have the opportunity to be buried in our cemetery.
Yep.
And that's on the agenda for the next meeting. There's a draft of a new ordinance for the cemetery, and we need, because of the problems that we've all experienced the last little while, we need some more time, so that's the reason behind the extension of the moratorium. It still provides the purchase at time of need, but the moratorium is on pre-buying numerous lots. So that's all that we're trying to do right now.
Any questions? Do I have a second on the motion?
I second it.
Okay. This is a roll call vote. Dave?
Yay.
Patty?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
The motion passes. Okay, now we'll move to action meeting number 6, State Fireworks, January 4th, 2021. And
Do we have the letter?
Callie will put the letter. I guess I can explain it. Callie explained it to me. The state is offering fireworks for every city to celebrate our 100th?
125.
Yes,
125th
anniversary.
statehood birthday. And so our fire department will be in charge of the fireworks here, and the state will furnish the fireworks, and we just need a motion that we will accept that and have fireworks on January 4th.
And it's at no cost to
And it's no cost to the city. That's nice. So,
I'll make a motion that we accept the state fireworks for January 4th, 2021.
okay.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Next is the employee Christmas bonuses. This is something the city has done for years, and it's not much, but we appreciate the city employees, and we think they're worth it. So, if there's any discussion,
I think it's important that we mention that it has already been budgeted for this year. So I would make a motion that we
Continue.
continue the employee bonus for this year, with our deepest thanks to the staff and
It's
for all they...
actually pretty little for what they do for us, you
Yeah,
know.
it's not very much, but it represents a whole lot of thanks on our part for what's being done for the city, so.
Exactly.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We'll move on to the work meeting. Item number 8, utility discounts for active military resolution. Okay, Judy?
Oh, Judy's gonna talk to us about that, okay.
At one point, when the 222nd and some of the other members were deployed, we had offered a utility discount back in 2005 and 2011. We do have a gentleman that has been deployed, and we're wanting to reactivate that utility discount for him, so we need approval for that.
Okay, thanks, Judy. I'll entertain a motion.
Well, this isn't a work meeting.
Yeah, we can't
Okay.
This,
Okay.
yeah, with this,
pass it, okay.
Any further discussion?
is there any way that we can have that in our policies and
Bylaw?
procedure?
Yeah,
That, active duty military, when they are deployed, can come into the city office and apply for that?
Probably have to have an ordinance for it.
No, the policy and procedure.
I'm not sure if we can do it a policy and procedure, because I don't know if we can.
You can write your ordinance though, so.
Yeah,
yeah.
just add it to
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so could it be something like we do with the 10%
Yeah, Christmas lights.
Christmas light discount?
Yeah.
So we can just amend,
And combine it.
How much is a discount? Get curious.
It's half off their utilities.
For,
All utilities? Have a discount, yeah.
okay.
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 Okay,
So
so
we
this,
need to amend our ordinance is what,
okay.
okay.
And so this has to be active. He would be active.
Yeah, deployed. Deployed.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? Let's move on to, number 9.
that is marching orders.
Yes.
I'd say so.
Marching orders, okay.
To amend.
And then we'll just do it in the action meeting next time, right?
Yeah.
Could we, we could do a resolution though next time. I thought, he's already been deployed, so I would hope that we could do something. Well, just make it retroactive. Okay.
Mhm.
So I can go ahead and give it to him, is what you're saying.
Well, I'm saying, say that we'll charge you full here, and we'll make it retroactive, and you don't have, and we'll give you a credit.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, on to item number 9. Is that for next month, Jim?
Well,
Or do you want to review it tonight?
did you all get a copy of the proposed cemetery ordinance?
Mhm.
I didn't.
It's pretty much the same as the old ordinance. It's just the major, change is 13.16.030, which is the purchase of burial rights. So if, take a look at that.
Yeah, where is that? Yeah.
Second page.
Let's see.
It's on your screen there.
I know, but I can't read the screen.
Okay.
It's,
You want me to
Okay,
read it?
so, this was the major change that we were looking at. It's important that people understand that Parowan City maintains the deed to the ground. What is being purchased is a burial right. Okay? And purchase of burial rights are subject to all ordinances and policies that govern the cemetery. Each burial right will require a separate and specific name for each right purchased. And the reason this was put in there was we've got, from the beginning of Parowan, people would go up there and buy, a family plot. And all of those grave sites would be under one name. And that's caused a lot of
Confusion.
problems, especially if there is some controversy as to the heirs and people that have an interest in the burial rights. And so what we're trying to do with this new ordinance, each burial right has to have a specific name attached to it. No longer can people go up there and buy 15 plots under one name. And so
They can still buy 15 for their kids, right? Is that what you've got ordered in here? But it has to be done for,
No.
the kid has to come in and buy one, right?
It has to be a separate name on each,
it has to
each
be
one.
a
Yeah,
separate
but
name
so
attached
Joe or
to
Bob
each
or
and every-
whoever not can come in
Right.
and it has to be there now.
Right,
And,
so
if-
it
and
says-
under this right now, they can't come in and just buy what they want. It's
right.
as
under-
needed right now.
Item number 1 addresses that.
Now, did you take out, I haven't had a chance to read all this through, but
Uh-huh.
are you still allowing the, burial of, like, well, it was up to 3 people, right?
Right,
As far
yeah.
as cremated on top of
Yeah,
each other,
uh-huh.
you can come in and do that, okay.
Right. Oh, I thought you were coming up to yell at me.
Back to the back.
But, yes, you can buy, one for your kids if that's what but what we're trying,
We're filling up. It's filling up.
Resident.
Yeah,
yeah, an
They aren't all
individual,
resident. Putting it in place.
it says, an individual resident is limited to a maximum of 1 pre-purchase burial right.
You mean?
Oh,
2.
no, one.
One for themselves.
what did we write in there about a spouse? Didn't we write something in
that's
there
at
about?
the time of need.
Oh,
Says
so my wife
purchase
and I
of
would
right.
both go in and buy a plot, and then she would buy a plot.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's just 2, we were limited
I was
to
gonna
2.
say, someone ought to be able to buy one for their spouse, unless
Yeah.
one's buried alone.
Right,
As long as the name's attached to it.
Right.
That's what we need to
Right,
ensure, is that there is a name attached to each and every burial site.
So it isn't just the trust doesn't come and buy a bunch of them, yeah.
So, let me,
Well, they have to come to the city and pay for those before they will receive
A right.
a certificate of burial. They have to have a name attached to that
Correct.
specific plot.
so, here's the problem I see with that. I'm not sure how to fix it, and I don't wanna throw a bunch of kinks in this, but let's say that I have 5 kids, so I wanna put my specific kid on each one of those, and then 10 years down the road, my kid gets married, and they're in a car crash and they get killed, and I want to bury my son and his wife next to us, because one of my other kids has gone off and is gonna live somewhere else and is never coming back.
And that's addressed.
Now I got a problem.
You can change ownership.
You can change
Change
ownership.
ownership.
All right,
somebody has to own it,
okay,
that's the bottom line.
I'm good
You
with,
can-
as long as you
you
can
can-
change
what-
ownership.
And I can't remember the specific, but what happens is, if you no longer want or need that plot, or you wanna transfer it to somebody else, you go in to the city, pay a fee, and
Change the name.
change the name on the, is that correct,
Yep.
Heather?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Jim, just remind me what we decided on. Say, I have no plots out there,
Uh-huh,
and Jerry passes.
uh-huh.
I can't get a plot?
Yeah,
I can, just
yes.
a total of
You
two,
can, you can go up there and get one for Jerry,
and get one for
get
my
one
stuff.
for you.
Okay. And it's limited to two at this time. Okay.
And, let's see, the other thing that I wanted to, was that, what we were just talking about, the transfer, I can't remember
Well, it says reselling of burial rights is prohibited.
Yeah, but that's just
That's
something,
individual. You can't get another mutton for a plot like you did
Yeah,
before.
You have to turn it back to the
yeah,
city.
You gotta come into the city, and the city has to make that transfer.
Right, but you can, yeah, okay, you can transfer it to somebody else, but you can't sell it.
Right. It
You
comes
can't-
back to the,
Yeah, the transfers, you can't go and make money off from it. You
Right,
can't-
that's what- yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to avoid, yeah.
whereas,
Well, the question I have, Jim, is on the resident and the non-resident.
right,
Okay, the non-resident, residents can pre-purchase one plot, you know, you gotta have a name on it, we understand, okay. But then you get a non-resident, they can come in and they can purchase one at the time of need, plus they can pre-purchase another one that's adjacent to that one if they requested at that time.
at that
at the
time.
time of need.
Okay, well, my problem with that is that you're allowing a non-resident to have the same preferential treatment as a resident because they're giving them the right to pre-purchase one.
Right, one. We're limiting them all, but
They're
the
still being able to pre-purchase that.
right, but the way we can't limit a non-resident.
You can't discriminate.
You can't discriminate. So the way that we get around that is that a non-resident still has to purchase
At the time of need.
at the time of need, and they pay a higher fee than a resident does.
Right, and
And that's the only thing that we can do, because
I think that higher fee, if that's the case, needs to be substantial.
but there again, you have to be really careful,
Careful.
because you have to show that price that you're charging that person can be justified. Because they can come back and,
Well, we have all kinds of
right, but,
provisions for non-resident fees in many,
exactly, but you can do that in hunting licenses and tuition, because the state has shown that there is a legitimate increase in cost for
Well, also,
non-resident.
resident paying taxes on, it, that's where the money comes from.
Yeah, a resident that lives here, there's a lot of things that they contribute to that
Absolutely.
you've got to allow for. They've got to be given some preferential treatment over a non-resident.
No, they don't get preferential treatment.
They can't.
They have already paid their dues by the taxes they pay because they live within the city. So, what you have to do, what he just said was exactly dead on. You have different levels of costs assessed to people based upon the fact that they're not a resident, for instance, hunting, but they have gone in, the state has come in and calculated and said, okay, it costs this much to manage these units, and this is our costs, and taxes go to pay this amount. Licensing go to pay this amount. This person is not a person that pays taxes that helps support this amount, so we will charge the out-of-state resident more money to do this, to hunt this unit, or to do this, based upon the taxes they have not paid. So what he's saying is we have to have a basis to do that. If you want to see an example of how the state is clamping down on discriminatory practices, you don't have to go any further than our water ordinance and what was being charged to people that live outside city limits to what people are being charged inside city limits. And the state has now said, you cannot charge a person that you're giving water to outside city limits any more than you charge inside, unless it's a basis, there is a basis to charge them more
And taxes are not a good basis, but if they're high up on the mountain and it costs to pump them up there, then you can justify it. But you have to justify your charges. So if you can figure out how much your taxes go in to pay for a cemetery plot and is supported by the city, and there's some kind of a logical basis to do that, then you can charge them that excess, because then they come on even par with your residents that have already paid. But you've got to figure out what that is. It can't.
We're already
up to
charging them more.
Right.
We can justify $900. We can't, as much as I would like to, we can't justify $20,000 for a cemetery plot for a non-resident.
Can't we see how much we could? I mean, does that 900 shouldn't be set
That's what I'm
in
saying.
stone.
You're gonna have to do a
You
step.
can't.
It's not gonna be the amount, like Jim was saying, as far as $20,000.
Well, this ordinance, what I understand, is to, protect the integrity of that cemetery.
Absolutely.
And to accommodate the needs of the citizens of Parowan.
Right, but Dave, I agree 100% with you, I do. But I also know the state of Utah will come down and hammer us if we cannot justify an exorbitant amount charged to a non-resident.
Well,
that's why we can only limit them to one at time of need and a spouse.
Do you even have to give a burial right to a non-resident? I don't think we do. Legally, I don't, Justin.
If we're in the business, I think we do.
I would have to check on it, honestly.
Otherwise
I would think we do.
They were
I believe we would have to, but I haven't researched that.
Some
so-
cities don't even do pre-sales
Right.
at all.
They may just say when you come in your time, but I don't think I have ever heard of a city coming in and saying, you can't be buried here. So I think that would not be a good idea to go down that path.
The trouble is,
Just because, let's say someone's very akin to Parowan, you'll love this example, sorry, but you're from Vegas and you're driving up here and you drive past that cemetery every day for 50 years as you ski here and you say, this is where I'm buried, this is a beautiful cemetery, this is my favorite place on earth, and then they want to be buried there and they told you can't be buried there. We only buried a Parowan City residents. I think the lawsuit would not be a good idea.
But I don't think we have to stick to that $900. I think we can.
my point was that we are in fact have a fee schedule that is significantly higher for a non-resident than it is for a resident. Now, whether we can do some adjusting, I'm with you, David. Like I said, I would love to see non-residents having to pay out the nose.
We need to do whatever we can.
Absolutely, and that's kind of where we can't do what we want, but we can do what we can do.
Okay.
And there's also a different price for opening and closing, which is more fair for the citizenry than non-residents.
But it's still.
But Jim, when we first talked about this, we talked about giving the non-resident the option, to buy a plot on the time, on the need basis, as need, but we said one. We didn't say two at that time.
Right, but then it came back that if you sell one to a
Well, I know
spouse,
where you're going, but,
and
I mean, we're back to the point that we're trying to protect the cemetery from being overfilled.
But I don't think you're gonna get away from that. I don't think we can. I think the other option is just gonna have to look down the road for expansion. I mean, I don't know, 20, 30 years, 40, 50 years, it's gonna
I agree.
go up.
I agree, and I have some ideas there.
But I think we ought to look at that, because we can't just say, no, this is it, only people live here, we're done.
So one of your problems is right now, I'm sure, I have no doubt, is that you permitted, as all cemeteries did, because that's what we did historically. When 100 years ago, the idea of a kid moving out of the house once he got married was to move 25 feet to the next cabin around. And that kids married to the next cabin around. And everyone was here, and so you have families that have purchased plots back 100 years ago, and you have a ton of vacant plots up there
with names on that were purchased 100 years ago and that are just empty.
Right.
And really what you need to be doing, and what we need to do, is to start to clean up all those plots and
that's in the
recall them, and then allow people to be buried in the older part of the cemetery again, where no one has used those plots for the last 100 years, and everybody's deceased and gone.
Yeah.
There are a ton of plots there that I guarantee you, I haven't looked at yours, but I did look at Beaver's. I'll bet there's 400 or 500 plots from 150 years ago
I'll bet you
that are
there is.
empty.
I'll bet there is.
And you can go for probably another 30 or 40 years if you take those plots back and then start burying people in those empty plots. 'Cause I saw in Beavers, 'cause we're working on it right now, there's 8 or 9 plots in a row that are, no one's in them.
And it's mentioned, it's addressed here, it talks about, upon the death of an owner, the burial right descend to those whose named on the decedent's will or their heirs as designated by law. An affidavit of heirship, together with the power appointing one of the heirs to represent all, or a certified copy of a decreed distribution of the estate of the deceased must be presented to the city. In the absence of such documentation, the city shall act within the state laws and guidelines to determine heirship and successorship. The heirs are entitled to the same use of the burial rights as the original owner and are bound by the same rules and regulations. And then it goes down and says, rights to lots that have been unused or have no written notice of claim or interest on for over 60 years may be reclaimed by Parowan City. Every practical and legal effort shall be made to find the owner or legal heirs before the burial rights revert back to the city. Lots with unpaid perpetual care may be reclaimed by the city after duly notifying the owners or heirs. So they've worked where there's way that and we've talked to, Cleve and I have talked to Heather about doing exactly what you were saying about cleaning up all those old plots, especially in the old sections, that have no names attached. There's nobody that has claimed ownership, and so there's lots of things that we need to try and do. But I think
I would change that I would change that. Your lawyer's talking now. I would change every to reasonable means will be taken to notify owners. Not every, because if you say every, then you have to take every mean, and I promise you, you will miss an every somewhere.
Where did I say every?
It says every reasonable effort will be noted.
Oh.
I was looking for it, I couldn't find it, but it should say reasonable means will be taken to do it. And reasonable means might simply be
a letter, right?
Advertising in the paper. If anybody know these people, we're looking for these people or heirs, because in today's world, there's a possibility that if you do it, I'll bet another 20 years, you'll be able to identify almost everybody that's ever lived in the United States somewhere. So, and every heir. So, I think it just needs to be reasonable means, not every. And I think that's all the law requires, is reasonableness.
I don't know.
That's the second sentence under unused law.
Every practical and legal effort will be made. I think this reasonable effort
right after
will
the
be
60
made
years, Jim.
to find the owner of the legal heirs.
In D, D of that section, unused lots.
Unused lots.
Okay, right there, okay.
And then duly notifying the owner or heirs, I think it's after making reasonable efforts to notify the owner and heirs. And reasonable efforts would be advertisement in a paper.
But we're within the rights of the city to reclaim those unused.
Absolutely. In fact, again, the burden on the city to maintain, and it should be, we should maintain a beautiful cemetery. And you have a beautiful cemetery. But as that cemetery grows, it becomes more and more impractical. I have been to a cemetery in Austria where Mozart is buried, Brahms is buried. They were all buried there together. In that cemetery, I'll bet there was 1 million or more graves and it was trashed. Now, where Brahms and Beethoven and those guys are buried, it was beautiful. But as you walk through that cemetery, it was trashed because it was absolutely impossible for them to maintain it. It was like, I don't know, probably half a square mile, and they just couldn't maintain them. And if you continue to allow yourself to spread out, it becomes more and more spendy to try to maintain the beauty of your cemetery. So compacting it down is a really good thing.
Okay, is there any more discussion? So
We'll move this to the
next
action meeting next time, and
14th of January, okay. How about the water conservation plan review? Is that something we need to have Cleve here to do, or?
is Kelly?
Yeah, it's pretty detailed.
Okay, we'll move that to January, okay. Okay, we'll move on to item number 11, which is, council, reports. Dave, do you have a report?
No, I don't think so, 'cause we didn't
Okay.
meet with we didn't do that tonight.
Okay.
I had a question though, shouldn't you're gonna address that annexation, shouldn't that go to the planning and zoning?
Well, it's kind of been withdrawn, 'cause they haven't done the work that even
Okay, but
need to
shouldn't
do.
it though?
Yeah,
Just hadn't gotten to that stage.
Yeah. See, that's when I saw that, I thought, well, the planning and zoning has.
So, they file their petition, once they're ready to roll, they file their petition, that has to be filed with the city.
Okay,
But at that point, I think it's very prudent for the city to refer it back to planning commission to look at it and say,
right,
that's what the planning commission's for.
Right.
They're a planning commission for
Mhm.
expansion, growth, they should look at it, and then they
Right.
make the recommendation. Remember, you're on very limited time frame, so you are on a very limited time frame. So if you wanna kick it to planning and get their recommendation, you have to deny it within 28 days, or I don't remember the days, but it's very short. You'd think you'd get a couple months, it's not that long.
mhm.
So it's gotta be pretty quick under state law. Yeah, there's no, it hasn't started ticking yet, yeah.
If they, choose to finish the paperwork and pay the fee, then that'll be forthcoming, but right now,
No,
it's nothing.
okay,
okay.
thank you.
Patty?
Short and sweet, we're still working on the template for, opening up, just a little bit opening up the theater. We're now probably going to go to very reduced and have them several times as far as audiences go. But we're working hard, we'd like to get it open, but we don't expect it to happen in the next couple of months, okay? And then, there was a bit of a problem at the library because there was a lot of people that didn't wanna wear masks. So we were trying to figure out a way so that the librarian doesn't have to take that whole burden on herself, but I guess as time went by, she let me know that it's gotten better. So I think there's just a lot of frustration out there and, anyway, it's looking good now.
Okay, thanks, Patty. Jim?
I don't know if any of you have been out by the airport, but the new house is out there and work's being done by the new, FBO. I went out there to talk to him, but he was in Vegas, so don't have anything to report, and that's it.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
Can you tell me what's going on out there? I've had several people ask me about the noise. Are they training? Are they...
No, they're utilizing the airport as federal regulations require them to do.
This SEU is going,
Do what?
It's upper limit, it has nothing to do with.
yeah, it's,
Oh, has nothing to do... Oh,
High school.
They start at 8 o'clock in the morning, they're done by 9, and
okay.
for the airplanes and the helicopters start about 9:30 and finish about 11:30.
And
Nothing's going on every day.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there is no way that Parowan City can limit the use of that airport. None whatsoever. As long as they are within FAA guidelines,
Yeah,
They just sometimes fly different planes and some are like.
yeah.
louder than others,
Yeah,
but,
and
but,
they're not so
they-
much saying they don't want the planes, they were just more curious about
right, and
what
they
the
have,
flight plan is and how often this is gonna you can get used to it, but-
and they really have changed from upper limits. They used to come right over to the town. Now,
They go
they
out,
take off and they go out
right,
the valley, so they've really tried to,
And they're good to work with.
they really are, and Mick is,
Yeah. I think,
he's working on that.
I think he's doing great.
Last time, though, I forget her name, she lives, over out Corner North, she came in and complained to council a couple months ago. And Upper Limit was flying some of their louder planes right at 8 o'clock, and they were going right over the top of it.
Right over her house.
And they can do that, 'cause that's the flight plan, I mean, that's the direction, that's the airport, that's everything. But I made a simple call out to, and talked to Mike Mauer out at Upper Limit Aviation, and they started making the turn a little quicker. They wanna do what they can
Good.
to appease the citizens. And it's
Yeah.
not just them, there is other planes that'll come do touch and goes out here, just
Mhm.
with student pilots from Paintwood, they'll come over for the day and
Okay.
yesterday, there was a red and white one that touch and go for 3 hours out there. I never seen.
Well, we got, when all this downtime, we got a little spoiled, and we forget what has to be done out there.
They've been flying the whole time. It's just, sometimes there's a couple of their planes that are very loud.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the last couple of weeks, we've had the loud ones here, and people are just,
And the weather has something to do with it too.
Yeah, that's
Sound
true.
travel's different.
Yeah. Thank you.
We just need to not allow them to have Smitties or cherry bombs on those airplanes. They gotta have a silent muffler. Matt?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Thanks to all of you, and thanks to all of you for being here tonight. And, there's no need for a closed session, is there?
There's not, but I do have something. You need to be aware that, it looks like Mr., and I can't even say his name, Master Tag, or whatever his name is, from the state legislature is back on his kick again, trying to force us to get all cities to have pressurized meters on their, pressurized irrigation system. So, the cost to Parowan City, I think we figured was 4.5 million?
Yeah, or under,
Just under 4 million, so, which would break us, and even with the state's help, it would break us, and it's absolutely, and the only word I can think of is asinine, to require us to put meters, since our system is wholly fed by water from the mountain, and we use what water we get, and we spread it between all the different people, and that have a right to have pressurized irrigation, and our usage goes down. When the water's high, our usage is high. If we don't use it, it goes out and wastes at the Little Salt Lake. So, anyway, regardless of that, we need to stay on top of that. We need to make sure that we're talking to our legislatures, and it's not gonna help if I call them. It's gonna help if you call them as a legislator, and make sure that this does not get passed again, and that he's back at it again.
I feel that. I was in a meeting Thursday with Representative Schiff, and Senator Vickers about some law enforcement bills that are coming. And Representative Schiff brought up this bill and said that he was gonna run a bill opposing it in the House. Senator Andrade is who's running the bill. So, in the Senate. So I know that our senators and our local legislators have knowledge of it, but if I can give you guys their contact information, cell phones and emails, but it would be good to hear from you guys individually.
Send it to us, send it to me.
I'll send them out in the morning.
Yeah, that'd be great, Mike, thank you. Yeah, the cost to individual, it's like $4,000 or $5,000 per residence. I mean, the city can't afford that kind of money.
And then it also, it goes bad.
The whole purpose of metering is conservation, and
We're a closed system, we have,
Yeah,
what water comes down is what we use. We don't pump, we don't store,
It's not being run because of Salt Lake and Davis County.
exactly.
Yeah.
we're on turns, we're trying to conserve water, so we're
And we
doing all...
really
yeah.
do conserve water.
Yeah.
We were one of the first cities to limit the watering times, going on the rotation. We shut it down during the day, just like everybody says you're supposed to do when you irrigate. Parowan City has done a good job with the limited resources that we've had. And to have the state come down and make a
Blanket policy.
Yeah, there's no way we would shut down the system.
We
We would let the water go out there into the middle of the Little Salt Lake, because there's no way that we can afford to meter the 800-plus connections that we have for pressurized.
well, it's just a waste of money.
It
Because
is.
even if you did meter, the whole purpose of metering was to conserve, and frankly, we can't conserve the water that is coming down the mountain. It is what it is. We get what we get. And
And the manufacturers won't even warrant.
they won't warranty the meters because it's dirty water and it ruins the meter. So it's a problem. With that said, we probably ought to keep in our prayers, for water. I was up in Midway, going to a family funeral on Friday, drove around Midway, up through towards Cheyenne and back down to Ogden where the funeral was. Their reservoirs are empty. And I mean, they are empty. And I haven't been up at ours, but I imagine ours is empty. We better get some water. If we don't get water, we're gonna be in trouble.
We won't have to worry about metering.
That's right, because there won't be any water.
According to the state hydrologist, we aren't gonna get much either for quite a while, so that's not good. Remember to pray for water. But remember what that old pioneer said, we don't want to send any of those damn flash floods.
We want a long, slow, drizzling rain, I believe is the finish to that prayer.
Well, I'm not on good enough terms, so that's up to you guys.
Heather, fix that, will you?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor? Say
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.